For the next segment of this cottage, we're going to be inserting some blocks. Blocks are used when you have multiple features that are similar from drawing to drawing. We're going to be creating a bathtub, a lavatory, a toilet, an electrical switch, a fan, an outlet, and we will be using those throughout multiple drawings. So we want to create a brand new drawing and title that one Tub. This tub can be used in our guest cottage as well as any house that we create later. Make sure your drawing units are imperial, and because this is a new drawing, we need to check our zoom alls once it loads. We need to check if we can draw with dynamic input, which I can't, so you must always in AutoCAD Web restart that drawing if you don't get either of those. So zoom all, try to draw a line. Yes, there's my dynamic input. And lastly, being the new drawing, we want to change our settings and our units to architectural. The bathtub that we're going to be creating will start with a rectangle that is 2 feet 6 inches wide, so 2 foot 6 tab, and that is 5 feet tall, so 5 feet, enter. You might need to zoom out to be able to see it, which is fine. We're going to offset this tub in 4 inches for the thickness of our tub walls. So O, enter, select this, bring it in, 4, enter, and finally we'll fillet the inside corners. So we're going to fillet the top edge with a radius of 6 and the bottom edge down here with a radius of 2. F, enter, R, enter, 6, enter. Vertical line, horizontal, enter to start fillet again. Now for the bottom ones, we need to change our radius to 2. F, enter, R, enter, 2, enter, and we will fillet these bottom corners. This here represents our bathtub, but when we place it into our cottage, right now we don't have a nicely defined point. Whenever you create a block, the origin becomes your insertion point for the next drawing. So we want to highlight our tub and move it, M, enter, from say this bottom left endpoint to the point 0, 0. So if you read your command line, it says specify the second point, that's where we want to place it, or use the first point as displacement. When you're in normal AutoCAD, you have to type in Shift 8 or the asterisk key, and then 0, 0 to go to the point 0, 0. So let's just get in the practice of doing that. Shift 8, 0, 0. This is our tub, and we are done. We're going to hit save, and we'll close and go to our next drawing. Go back to your main folder, create a brand new drawing. We're going to call this one here Lav, short for lavatory. Again, imperial units. Check your Z enter, A enter, and your dynamic input. Again, a brand new drawing. We need to change our units to architectural. And we'll be starting off with a rectangle again. Lavatory is our sink. We're going to be making this one 4 feet 6 inches wide, so 4, 6 tab, and 1 foot 10 inches tall. Our lavatory is going to have an elliptical sink in the middle. We don't have the ellipse drawing down here in AutoCAD Web. So we're going to cheat and just make a spline that looks like one. Our ellipse will have a height of 1 feet 2 inches and a width of 1 feet 8 inches. Now these two lines are going to be my reference lines for my lavatory's ellipse. Move them to midpoint, and we will draw ourselves a spline going from all 4 endpoints. When you get to the last one, hit C, enter to close. Now it's not a perfect ellipse, but for what we're doing, it'll be okay. I want to center this on my rectangle, so I will draw myself a diagonal reference line, and I'll move all of this this from the midpoint to the midpoint of that diagonal. Get rid of your reference lines, and again, we want to move it down to our origin. Move from this endpoint, Shift 8 or asterisk 0, 0. Save your lavatory. Creating these blocks are quite quick and easy, and I can then use these in any of my drawings later. So we have our lavatory and our tub now. Create a new one. We'll call this one here toilet. Again, imperial units. We want to check our zoom. We want to check our dynamic input, and we want to change our units to architectural. We'll start by drawing the back of the toilet being the rectangular tank top, 1 feet 8 inches wide and 6 inches tall. And we'll have an ellipse for our seat. That seat will be 1 feet 8 inches long and 1 feet 4 inches wide. Again, draw your lines separately and just move them from midpoint to midpoint. We'll use that same spline to make our elliptical seat with the C-close technique. And we want the center of this toilet seat to be 1 feet 8 inches from the back of our toilet. So we'll draw ourselves a line down from the back of the toilet going down 1 feet 8, and we will just move all of this with the move command to that endpoint. Go ahead and delete your reference lines, and here is our toilet. Now for this one, we want to move the back midpoint to the origin. So we'll highlight, move from the back midpoint to that asterisk 0, 0. Save your toilet and go back to your folder list. We're going to be creating our ceiling fan next. Again, check your zoom, draw a line, and change your units. Just get in the habit of doing that every time you create a new AutoCAD web drawing. This ceiling fan is going to have the housing centered at the origin, so we'll just draw a circle starting at the origin. It's going to have a 4-inch diameter, not a 4-inch radius, so I want to hit D, enter, and then 4 for our housing. The fan blades themselves are going to have a 3-foot diameter. So I'll start a circle at the origin again, and I'll hit D, enter, and this time 3 feet. Each of our fan blades are going to start at the outside of our inner circle, and they'll be 20 degrees total. What we'll do is we'll just draw our first one at the quadrant of the top, and we'll draw out a line. I don't know how long, it doesn't matter. Just bring your line out beyond your circle and hit tab, and we'll draw this at 80 degrees, right? 10 degrees from vertical. We'll draw another line at the same point. Again, I don't care how long. We'll hit tab, and we'll go 100 degrees. That way I have 10 degrees to the left of vertical, 10 degrees to the right. And what I can do is just now trim off those extra little lines. I'm also going to trim off this circle. What we've created is a single fan blade that I now want to pattern around our center point. So highlight all 3 objects, and we're going to polar array these. Go to the draw panel, the last icon being array. We want to choose the option of polar. And for our base point, or our center point, we're going to choose the center of that circle. Currently, we have 6 fan blades. I want a fan that has 5. So I'm just going to go down and click on items and change that to 5, hit enter, and we get 5 fan blades. If you wanted a fan that had 4, you could do items 4, enter, but we're going to go back and keep it 5. So items 5, enter. And you can either click exit or just hit enter. This here is our ceiling fan. Go ahead and hit save, and we will continue with our next block. The next block we're going to be creating is our lighting fixture. Create a new drawing, we'll call it light fixture. And this can represent a wall light or a recessed light. Again, check all your zooms, check your dynamic input, change your units to architectural. This one here will also be centered around the origin. It will have a 6-inch diameter circle, so D enter, 6 enter. And sticking out from it, we'll have 2-inch lines going out from each quadrant. Instead of me right-clicking, going to the quadrant, and drawing a line out to, if you have your object snap and object track turned on, you can just draw a line, hover over the center, and then mouse up until you hit the extension. And just type in 2 enter. And we'll just hit enter a few times till I start my line command again. And you can just use that extension. It's a little bit quicker than right mouse clicking and finding your quadrant, but what we're creating is a circle with 4 lines 2 inches long sticking out from each quadrant. Save your light fixture, and we'll draw 2 more blocks. The first block that we're going to be creating is our switch. Again, every time we create a brand new drawing, you've got to check in AutoCAD Web if you can zoom all and create your line with dynamic input showing up before you change your units. The switch will have a base that starts at our origin, and the line that comes up will be 10 3/8 of an inch long. You want to type in 10-3/8 to get a line with unit length of 10 3/8. We're also going to be putting in just the letter S on here. Go to your Annotate tab and create text. If I type in just the text of the letter S, capital S, it's going to be very tiny because I didn't change my text height. So what we want to do before we do that is go to your Properties tab and change your text style to Simplex 6. We'll have just a 6-inch letter S, again a capital S. And we're simply just going to move this to where it looks like it's centered up and down and possibly a little bit right of center. Save that, and we'll draw our last block being our outlet. New drawing, outlet, check your zoom, check your dynamic input, and change your units to architectural. For this one, we're going to create a circle that has a diameter of 9. And we'll draw a line starting at the quadrant. This time I will choose quadrant. And we'll bring it from the right quadrant back to the left 9 inches. I'm sorry, our lines should be 9 inches long. Our diameter should be 6. So new circle, again, diameter 6. Create that line from the quadrant, going back 9 inches. Now, this isn't an outlet just yet. We want to offset this line up and down 1 inch and trim off this outside little line. Now this outlet here represents a 240 volt outlet. Our guest cottage will only have 120 volts, so we'll delete this middle leg. This here is the outlet symbol for a duplex outlet, and we'll move it from this point to our origin. Again, asterisk 0, 0. Go ahead and save that symbol. And in the next video, we will place these around our drawing.